Today for Mousetrap Monday, we're going to build and test out a very old style of mousetrap that was used by native Eskimo people more than 100 years ago. And this style of mousetrap was likely used for a long period of time in the Arctic. Generation after generation collected these materials and built traps to catch mice. I'm going to use these items to recreate a trap based off an original example that's currently in the Smithsonian Institution. It's listed on their website under the anthropology department. There they have quite a few photos from different angles, so we should be able to make a very close copy. Now, the original trap was first collected by Riley D. Moore. It was purchased from the Eskimo people on St. Lawrence Island in the Bering Sea of Alaska. Now, along with the really good photos, he also included a card listing the material. Now, I did learn how to read cursive in school, but with his handwriting, it's hard to make out every word. A string of rawhide is lashed over a bow rib. In string is inserted a strip of wood, having at one end a noose of whalebone, which passes down into a hollow stick to which the bow is attached. The trigger is held down with grass and the end of the wood is tied back. Something like that. If you can read these words and I missed something, put a comment down below. It does provide enough information. We know the size, 11 by 14, and the material. 2 pieces of wood, a rib bone, rawhide. Here I have some leather, and the tricky one is the whalebone. Now, traditionally, when they say whalebone, they mean baleen, which is a material in some species of whale's mouth they use to filter out plankton. Traditionally, baleen was used to make many different things, including bows and mouse traps, but getting body parts from a whale is difficult and probably not legal. So the closest material I can think of is sinew. This is the back sinew or tendons of a deer. I've used this a lot in these types of projects, including making arrows. You wrap the arrowheads with it, making bowstrings, making glue, and we're going to use it to tie the noose. To start, we need the body of the trap. It's made out of a piece of wood, and it's carved down. It has a hole in the middle. That's where the mouse sticks in the head. There's 2 holes on top for the trigger system, and to fit the noose, it's tapered on the back. There's a groove on the bottom, and I put a little notch to fit the rib bone. The rib bone sits on the back like this. Now, I don't know what animal provided the rib bone for the original trap. I bought this rib bone in Alaska a long time ago, and it's said to be a rib bone from an extinct species of bison called the steppe bison. But it's basically the same length and shape of the original, so I'm going to use it. Although the original probably used a rib bone from an animal like a caribou. This rib bone has a notch on either side, and it sits right there in the back. The next step is we're going to lash it down. Now, the card says they use rawhide. Here I have leather, and I cut off strips using obsidian. This is very sharp. Just go around the edge, and that sharp obsidian has no trouble cutting the long lashings we need. I'm going to use over 10 feet of lashings I have here. We're going to use this to attach the rib bone to the wood. Also, we're going to run it across to make the engine for a trap. As we twist the leather, we're going to put in a stick. That twisted leather is going to make it want to go up. We're going to attach the noose on this side. It's going to go down in the hole with a trigger system. The mouse will stick his head through the noose, chew off the trigger system. It will go up, and we'll catch the mouse. We have everything we need, so let's put the trap together. That feels really secure. Now we're going to lash the leather on the rib bone to make the engine of the trap. Now that our leather is wrapped, we can wind up our stick. Make sure you twist it in the way that's going to pull the stick up at the front. Yep, that's the right way. One more twist should be enough force to catch a mouse. Hey, that works quite well. Next, we need a long, thin fiber to make the noose. Since we're not using baleen from a whale, I'll pull off some sinew fiber. This is really strong long ways, but if you want to pull some fibers apart, you just give it a little tug. That will work perfectly. I'm going to make the noose for a sinew doing a 2-ply twist. You fold it in half, twist both ends, it'll wrap on itself, there's the loop. We're going to continue twisting. That is really strong. And as it twists, it naturally secures itself. That looks like rope. I completed our twisted sinew noose, has a loop on the end, pulls really nice. I'm going to go ahead and feed that through the hole in the top. Dress the noose to the right size, and then tie off the string to the stick that's going to go up. That's all secure. We can pull the stick forward. Now it has that tension on it. The mouse will go in there, trip the trap, goes up, and you got it. Now we need to just make the trigger system. For the trigger system, I tied a loop of sinew. That fits over the stick. We can pull this over. It has quite a bit of force with that leather. Now this end of the loop is going to fit down in the hole and into the trap. Now I have a stick here. I'm going to put bait on this, but first I'm going to shove it in the loop. That's going to hold everything down. When the mouse pulls out the stick with the bait on it, it's going to release the loop and pull the stick up. We'll just reattach our noose. We are all ready to catch mice. The mouse will want the bait. Stick his head through the noose. And when it pulls out that stick, we got it. This is a really clever trap. Let's go set it up in the chicken coop and see if we can get some mice with this Eskimo style mousetrap. I finally caught a mouse with this Eskimo style mousetrap. I say finally because the first time a mouse went in there, chewed on the bait, did not set off the trigger system, and on its way out, it pulled out the noose. When it came back, there wasn't a loop in the opening, so when it did set off the trap, it got away. I reset it, and on the second time, we caught a mouse, but not how I'd expect. The mouse went all the way in, and when it set it off, we caught it on its tail and back foot. But for some reason, that was enough to kill the mouse. The next time I'm going to set this trap, I'm going to put the noose farther in. That way we'll catch it on the body or neck. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. We were able to catch a rodent pest, and I'm sure this mouse will make a great meal for some wild animal. Let's go set up the motion cameras. When you leave a mouse out in the wild, it doesn't take long for another animal to come along and enjoy a free meal. So far in the past, I've caught raccoons, skunks, opossums, hawks, and owls, all feasting at the dead mouse buffet. One place I like to set up my trail cameras is on a beaver dam. There are so many animals going up the creek looking for food. Now the beaver did come back, but it didn't want to have anything to do with the dead mouse. And later a brown rat came and it ate that mouse. I've been filming wild animals eating the mice to show that it's not the best practice to use poison. If you poison mice and rats, you might be killing other animals you don't want to kill. But in this case, I would have killed a mouse and a rat with poison. That would have been a 2-for-1. But I also could have just as easily killed another animal such as a blue heron or a river otter. I've seen both of them in the area, and that would be a really bad thing to kill one of those animals. Now you might be surprised that I do this primitive technology thing, but for the first 5 years of my YouTube channel, I posted videos making bows, arrows, and other Stone Age technology. So if you like this kind of project or recreating ancient artifacts, check out those early videos. The Smithsonian Museum has many different mousetraps in their collection. These are fun projects to make, so I'm going to be doing more of these for future videos. I'll put the museum's link to this mousetrap in the description below. Currently, I'm posting 3 mousetrap videos a week on Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'm also posting additional videos on my website that don't quite fit YouTube's strict standards. So if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please consider hitting the button right there. If you want to see how to catch mice, rats, squirrels, chipmunks, moles, voles, and gophers, stay tuned.